Mark Rogers TV previewing Georgia, South Carolina, the first in-conference game in the SEC on Saturday, along with Mississippi State and Auburn. The winner of this matchup will take a major step toward capturing the SEC Eastern Division Championship. 11, 10, 8, and 6. Those are the win totals for head coach Mark Richt at Georgia. His program definitely on the downturn, and his seat on the hot seat. Make that the smoldering seat. Marginal football teams are not tolerated in Athens. Georgia came out very lifeless against Boise State, losing 35-21 in week 1, and they were very outclassed, physically beat up, and just outmanned. It was surprising to see for an SEC team that's got the recruiting base that Georgia does, especially coming off a 6-7 disappointing campaign. Prognosticators across the country expected the Bulldogs to come out focused and on fire. They did not. So Mark Richt needs a win against South Carolina. The Gamecocks have emerged as the best program in the SEC East. That's saying something when you really think about the dominance of Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida over the past couple decades. But it's the Gamecocks as the defending champions and, on paper, the best team in the division. So here are the 4 keys for Georgia to possibly pull off an upset against South Carolina at Sanford Stadium on Saturday. Number 1, Georgia has to start strong. Think about it. 6-7 team with high hopes for 2011. Had that lackluster performance last week in week 1 against Boise State. Georgia lacks confidence, you would have to think, and they've got skeptics out there, even amongst their home crowd. To win them over, they need a strong start, and maybe that's possible. South Carolina came out very sluggish in falling behind 17-0 against East Carolina last week before rallying for a 19-point victory. So number 1, Georgia's got to start strong. Number 2, Marcus Lattimore, the super sophomore running back for South Carolina, has to be slowed down. He ran for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns against Georgia last year and 112 against East Carolina last week. The Bulldogs lose inside linebacker Alec Ogletree, so that will not help the cause. But the Georgia Bulldogs have to somehow slow down, not stop, slow down Marcus Lattimore to around 75 to 80 yards rushing. Number 3, Georgia's got to protect their quarterback, Aaron Murray. The sophomore completed 16 of 29 last week for 2 touchdowns, but he was sacked 6 times, and South Carolina brings some heavy defense. They will bring the wood, come after Aaron Murray. The sophomore quarterback has got to be protected and make big plays in the passing game for Georgia. Point number 3, actually point number 4, is Brandon Boykin, the best player on the Georgia squad, has got to make some big plays. He did last week against Boise State, getting the first carry of his career and ran it for 80 yards to get Georgia on the board 7-0, provide a spark momentarily for the Bulldogs. Boykin plays defensive back. He returns kicks. He's got to make a big play somewhere, defensively, offensively. Maybe they'll give him some more attempts carrying the football or in the return game. Brandon Boykin, the key player for Georgia. So protect Murray, stop Lattimore, get off to a strong start, and get Brandon Boykin involved in the offense and see Boykin make a big play. These are the keys to Georgia possibly pulling off an upset against South Carolina. Not going to happen, though. Good ball game, but at Sanford Stadium, South Carolina goes on the road in the SEC and wins it 27-17. Enjoy the action on Saturday. We sure will on Mark Rogers TV.